met raad en saam, met lyding en hoop, verdriet en saam staan jy staan. Jy is altyd daar. Dit wat ons doen, ons liefdes, ons vreugdes, ons plekke, ons thuisdes, tot daar waar ons reis, jy is daar. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Al verander straatname, al word helde laat val, ons is steeds stuur ons adem, ons kultuur, ons verhaal, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Ons is daarmee gebore, die taal waarvoor ons staan, dit vloei deur ons are, ons kinders praat het saam, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, en Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir my mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. What's with the beard? What's with the beard? Okay, this one here is a little flat. A little bit flat. Let's give it a little bit tough there. Get it out. Make it look smooth. There we go. Let's come on this side too. There we go. Messing with the beard. Beard looks crooked now. It looks all messed up. I have to get a brush. Welcome back to the program, folks. It's a pleasure to have you with me once again. It is Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Hooghandet Zuid-Afrika. Otsihilijang. Botswana. Botswana. Servus Österreich. Grüß Gott Bayern. Guten Tag Deutschland. Ja, bienvenue Italia. Buongiorno. Non ça c'est buongiorno Italia. Bienvenue la France. Et tous les gens qui parlent français partout du monde, je dis bonjour. Salve Italia. Hey folks, welcome back to the program. Let's see who's in the chat, and then we'll get started here. A few things to talk about of note today. As always, Val Cooper's here, early bird, and my timestamps are not here again. That kid is on that escalator again. Sorry, it's a line from Kevin Smith. Mallrats. Val Cooper's here. Charles Van Onselen. Sean is back. How does one automatically reply to a comment? I see some people respond by @ coming up. I don't understand what your question is, Sean. I don't understand it. You mean reply to a comment in the chat? The @ symbol will simply reply to that person. So if you put the @ and you start typing their name, it should appear and you select it and then you put your message in there. That's how that works, if that's your question. Gavin Cober's here. Trevor Bush, Brian Lawrenson. Allison Johnson is here once again. Pablo Charlie. Hello, Pablo Charlie. Teeny. Gail Fick. Gail, welcome. I don't recall seeing you in the chat before. Welcome. Helen Duplessis. Helen is here from time to time. She's quite a talented singer, performer. I am not. Afrikaans, I am not. I am not a singer. I have no talent whatsoever when it comes to that. That's for darn sure. Gus, welcome back, Gus. All right, Teresa. Eric is here. How's Erica doing? And then Peter John Wurst. Good evening to you. Whenever I see his name, I start thinking of Druvos. I know it's not fair, but I see that surname. I'm like, I want some Druvos. It's amazing. I avoided it for decades, and now I just love it. Alan Coates is here. Teeny, welcome back, Teeny. Garrett Gillage, Alte Kanabadu. Chris Ehlers. Hello, Chris. Hendo, moderator extraordinaire. Val Cooper. Where is Charles Van Onselen and Paulie? When they're absent, we'll make a note of it. And Jonathan DT says, anyone who supports Ukraine or Israel is brainwashed. Well, it's unfortunate that you feel that way, Jonathan. I do support Israel. It's the only democratically elected government in the Middle East. It's the only multi-party, multiracial, multi-ethnic group. Israel is a country of extraordinary capacity, and they are a country that has been betrayed by the world. So I guess that makes me the M word. Sorry to hear that you feel that way, Jonathan. But I do not support Ukraine's corrupt government. Never have. Philip van Niekerk says, Daxe al die mensen wat abnormale Thai motief here in South Africa. Says, good day to everyone here in these abnormal times in South Africa that are taking place, that are running. Val Cooper, African Idiot. Ulrich Fenter's here. Gerhard Steenkamp. Sean God. Okay, cool. Now you can respond. All right, cool beans. Erica saying hello to everybody. YS, welcome to you. Why not? Leon is back. Good to see Leon. By the way, Leon, thank you so much once again. Hadn't seen you in a few days, but thank you for helping me sort out the problem with the profile. This software has got a problem too, but that's something you and I can't fix. There's a flaw in this version of Streamlabs, and they need to fix it. Hopefully they'll fix it soon. The error messages have been sent. Chris says, I support Israel. It's the foundation of Christianity, morals, and good governance. Who else we got here? Arc Precision is back. Yep. I think Arc Precision sent me a WhatsApp, if it's correct, if I remember that's who it was. I have not forgotten you. Chantel Boyson, welcome. Charles Van Olsen, there he is. I'm starting to wonder where he's at. And OBS is such a mess. I hear a lot of complaints. Not OBS, Streamlabs OBS. There's a difference, Leon. OBS is the dumbed-down free version. Streamlabs OBS is free, but has limitations unless you pay for a subscription. I pay for a subscription, and it had worked flawlessly for 4 years. And then suddenly, about a month ago, it starts crashing. And we've had that. I've had to start late on 3 or 4 streams because I had to reload the damn program 3 times. I've uninstalled or reinstalled a new version over it, and it still does it. Today, fortunately, it started. Also, weird things going on with YouTube. With YouTube, when you go to put a video, when you set up a stream or you load a video, you can put it on a playlist. Well, the drop-down menu for the playlist suddenly went all wonky a week ago. And things were all over. Well, you're used to seeing things because what happens is normally the most recent playlist you've used will be at the top. And so if you're using them like my news broadcasts every day, it should be the first one or the second one. Unless I've loaded videos, it'll be right near the top. But then they're all over the place. And I've got like 25 playlists, not all of which are posted for people to see clearly. But I had to search, and it takes time. It's very annoying. Well, suddenly that started working again 2 days ago. Also, YouTube has had this little thing going on now where the videos, which are set for ultra low latency, which means there's only 3 or 4 seconds between what I say and what you hear, where suddenly my videos would wait 32 seconds before they go live, and then 4 more seconds. So it's as if YouTube was monitoring my channel. And it happened here, and it happened on Rugby Ascendant. Then it disappeared on Rugby Ascendant, and then it was still here, and then it disappeared here, so I have no idea what's going on. Which Streamlabs do you have? Talk Studio, Ultra, Desktop? I have the Ultra. I don't know. I don't know. I paid the top end for it, so whatever the top end thing is. I don't know. It doesn't say that here. It just says Streamlabs Desktop 1.17.0. And I paid a fortune for it. Ronaldo says, thanks for the awesome video. Did you watch it already, Ronaldo? Ronaldo's here, folks. By the way, Wednesdays with the Colonel's back without my consent. I did not agree to that. Who said I wanted to appear on camera with that guy, Renaldo Gouws? I don't know where that came from. But I did see it posted. By the way, I don't know if suddenly YouTube likes Renaldo or hates him, because his video yesterday with 127,000 viewers and a topic that people were all talking about to get him canceled has just 6,800 views a day later. Today's video had 2,000 after 3 hours. I'm wondering if Renaldo is being shadow banned, if he's being promoted, what's going on. It could be being shadow banned by YouTube authorities in South Africa. We will see how his videos perform. In the process of watching your well, I hope you don't get hit with as many commercials as I did. I'm glad for Renaldo. He's getting a few pennies from everyone, but in an hour, I only got through 40 minutes because the rest was commercials. Every 1/3 of the stream was just interrupted. YouTube didn't do a good spot placing it, but every penny, every shekel that makes for Renaldo, I suppose that's helpful. But yeah, you got a lot of time on your hands. Okay, well, I'm not surprised. Not surprised. I'm being headhunted right now. I don't know if I have a lot of time on my hands. We'll find out. Over 90,000 views in the Springboks game live stream. Yes, Hendo. I don't know what happened at YouTube. That's 2 games now that's just gone crazy. The game in Perthfontein. Yes, I know it's Perth, but I call it Perthfontein. The game, because there's so many South Africans there. That game had 38,000 while it was on, wound up with 52,000 views for people coming after the fact, because it must have been promoted on YouTube's Up Next sort of thing. And then this last one, we had 2,000 live concurrent viewers on it. Average view time of close to 4 minutes, given that the 90,000 people watched it. That's pretty incredible. We actually, I'm not competing with Forever Sports, but they have 82,000 subscribers, and they had less than half my audience. And for a while, they had 1/4 of my audience. And the audience stayed. We had 1,400, 1,500 viewers for almost 2 hours. It was incredible. Almost 4,000 hours of content viewed on that one live stream. Unfortunately, the Springboks couldn't seal the deal. Rossi Erasmus outwitted himself. He outwitted himself. People are going to blame Monty Libbok. I blame Rossi Erasmus. He's the one that picked Monty Libbok. He's the one that put him in there. He's the one that left other talented fly halves sitting back in South Africa. That's who I pick. Renaldo needs the super chats. No more texts. Pay your teats. Yeah, he does need super chats, no doubt. Samstan, welcome to you. Charles says, only a quarter done so far. Yeah, I know. You're in the same boat. It's a lot of ads. You did good last week, El Comandante. Well, on Rugby Ascent, we did well. Not so well here. We lost 2 subscribers. Go figure it. Unemployed, needs super chats. Yeah, now he will do e-begging. By the way, on the recommendation of folks for Harry Boysen's book, I bought it. You didn't tell me that I could use it as a weapon. No one mentioned I could use Harry Boysen's book, Amabulu, as a weapon. I mean, this thing... That's like the federal, gazette here. I mean, it's like federal regulations reading this thing. Look at that. That is not a short, brief read. It's going to take me a while to get through this book. Again, I know the author, and I actually should reach out to him and try to get him on the channel at some point. But yeah, he's living in Canada, as I understand it. Yeah. So this is a tome, folks. This is going to take me. It's going to take some serious time to get through this. This is crazy. Oh my goodness. I need to read that book, and that's going to take a long time. But before that, I have another one that I'm in a hurry to read, and that's this one here. A little bit pricey because prices have jacked up at the warehouse stores, but overruled. I think I showed this in the camera before. The Human Toll of Too Much Law by Neil Gorsuch, a member of the Supreme Court. This one talks about, lawfare and destroying society with too many laws. And so I'm going to read that when I get a chance. It's possible for you to get Egg Chaser. I've never tried to get Egg Chaser on. He's some rich guy that doesn't seem to be interested. I don't know. Why, Trevor, why would you want me to have him on? It might boost my channel, that's for sure. Philip says, I wonder if the person who burned Renaldo and got him removed feels great in themselves. What type of ringworm does this? Yeah, well, that's what I said. And I've always suspected along, but I waited until the decision was done, and I waited until Renaldo went back on YouTube before I made that statement, that claim that I believe that someone inside the UA inside the DA with penis envy is the one who initiated all this, and probably has enough pull to get the FLC to reach the determination it did. The determination is nonsensical based on the information I have. Not an expert on the DA's constitution, but it seems pretty clear and straightforward. And whatever, we'll see. The problem is it's a cowardly party. It's afraid of bad publicity. The problem is it generates its own publicity. Remember the posters were put up during the municipal election, only to be ripped down by the KZN government? What the hell? Would they disavow the posters? Anyway. Clive says, I think you should stand as independent with... Well, standing as independent is quite a challenge, Clive, but I will tell you this. If Renaldo stood as an independent in his ward in the next election in 2026, he will be elected a ward councillor. if he wants to do it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I put the marker in the ground. You know my predictions are pretty accurate. Who said in November 2021, ANC 38 to 42%, and it came in at 40%? Who said that? Who said the DA would go into a government with the ANC if the multi-party coalition didn't succeed, which was unlikely? I did. And I said it early on. I'm not one of these guys that 2 weeks before the election, well, looks like there's going to be a coalition. Looks like the ANC's in trouble. No. In fact, 2 weeks before the election, they were still claiming the ANC was going to get 46 to 48% of the election, most of the polls, most of the analysts. I was still saying 38 to 42%. And I'm telling you right now, if Renaldo Gouws runs as an independent candidate for ward councilor in his ward in Nelson Mandela Bay in 2026, he'll win. He'll win. He'll be back in city council. No question about it. No question about it. He's much beloved there. With good reason. Okay, we'll do a poll. That's not it. It's a question I want to poll. Municipality. All right, there you go. All right, polls up, folks. You can answer it now. Your pick, your choice. Also suspect he was set. Of course he was set up. Chris says, stay away from Neil De Beer. Who are you talking to, Renaldo or me? Renaldo or me? Who here can open doors for me with long-established members of the ANC, with members of different political parties, with media organizations? If you can do that for me, let me know. DA threw him under the bus. Yes, they did. Do you think, as far as the DA is concerned, their wish for a current government to continue in perpetuity, or do you think their long-term strategy entails something? I think they're perfectly comfortable where they're at. They will not beat the ANC. They've proven that. The DA reached its maximum level in 2014 with 4,004,000 voters. They have continued to fail. They also reached their peak in the 2019 municipal elections, and now they've lost municipalities throughout the Western Cape. They have fractious governments in many of the municipalities in Western Cape. Their national level, they lost votes in this last election. Steenhuisen lost another 115,000 votes for the DA, and yet they crowed victory. And this is why I'm so critical of the DA, because, number one, what they say isn't true. They say the DA gets things done. Let's hold the DA account in the Western Cape, in the Cape Flats. Now, I have made allowances for the fact that they have a stream of incoming people and that the government is involved in things that the government shouldn't be doing, and they've inherited that mess. That's fair. But lots of problems. Also, they don't do what they say. They say they're transparent, but they have not been transparent in this Renaldo Gouws case at all, not even remotely. Not even remotely. Instead of telling us what he contravened, I mean, they could have solved the problem very simply. How hard was it in their press release or subsequent discussions to say he violated this, this, and this? The reason they're covering it up is why? Maybe because they don't believe he contravened it and they're just getting rid of him because it's convenient for them to do. And whoever wanted his scalp got it. They've been trying to get him for a long time. I don't know if Renaldo going after Mama Joy and her illicit conduct is what sparked this. It might have had something to do with it. I don't know. You're still waiting for Rolf Meyer's son to come back. He's traveling African planting churches. Okay. The only SA politician that has stuck to his word so far is Gate McKenzie. Nope. Even Gate McKenzie lied to you. Gate McKenzie lied to you. He misled you. He deceived you, African idiot. Gate McKenzie, in the aftermath of the election, or excuse me, of the Olympics, after South Africa got a silver medalist in the javelin, and the public found out that she had to pay to go that way and her family had to give money. She had to borrow money to support her to go to France because the South African Olympic Committee ignored her and she won an Olympic medal. Gate McKenzie says, I will reimburse. We will reimburse your costs. That's what he said. That's what he said. Now he says, no. That was a miscommunication. No, we're not going to pay her costs. She'll be part of the stuff going forward. No. You're a wealthy man, Gate McKenzie. You made a promise. Pay her way. Reimburse her family out of your own pocket. Out of your own pocket. It doesn't have to be the government money. In fact, I don't think it should be the government money. I never thought that was appropriate. They can deploy the army for snow as if it's Santa Claus, but can't deploy the army in Western Cape. Well, I wouldn't get too excited, Pablo Charlie. They deployed the army in 2021, and it was with disastrous results. They had to cut in front of the queue to get food because they couldn't feed themselves at the grocery stores. They changed their charges as they went along. Well, it isn't fair. There should have been a subsequent hearing for those charges. Either you state the case up front, but governments do that too. Governments add on charges. Well, okay, now we found more information why there's charge on. So it's not illegitimate, it's just unfair. Pablo says Gaten for president. Kenneth Mishway sticks to his word. Yeah, Peter Groenewald sticks to his word as well. I've never seen Peter Groenewald mislead anyone, ever. He's a politician. DA publicly poked the bear, so they should publicly say on what grounds they poked the bear. Bear retaliates with whatever it is. Yeah, we had to wait until today for Renaldo to release a 90-minute video detailing what the charges against him were, because the DA refused to do it. Why? If the DA is correct in expelling him, why did they wait? Also, I mean, that wasn't the crux of this video. That wasn't the intent here, but that seems to be the interest topic, so we'll continue with it for now before we get to the news. The DA was aware of his social media presence. He had disclosed his videos to them in 2013, 2014, 2016, 2019, not in 2019, excuse me. And the DA knew about it, even had a hearing on him. Thank you for subscribing, Red Wizard Enemy. Red Wizard Enemy, that's cool. Does that mean you hate communists? Yeah, speaking of which, Sri Lanka has just elected a Marxist to their government, and the United States promptly gave them $500 million. We are giving money to communist governments. That makes no sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever. The only South African army that was deployed was in the 1980s. Anything after that was a joke, says Chris Ehlers. He's talking about the SADF. Yeah, I fear the consequences of the vacuum left and centrist right-leaning politics in South Africa. The DA potentially big element. No, look, as I've predicted, I would not be surprised to see the Democratic Alliance join the ANC at some point. Yep. And the DA is not going to get any higher. Number one, they're competent bureaucrats. Give them credit. Competent bureaucrats. Terrible at public relations. Terrible at telling people what's going on. I mean, this whole campaign, don't vote for small parties. That only means the ANC comes in. That was a disaster. What nonsense was that? You don't do that. You vote for our party for the following reasons. The DA and its love affair with LGBTQ plus leanings, it loses a number of voters. The DA, with its overemphasis on some of its policies, causes them to lose other voters. Anyway, they're a competent bureaucratic party, but they're left of center, and that's who they are. That's not an attack. That's a statement of fact. If you want to vote for a left of center party, your only option is the DA. If you're a South African, you want to vote for a competent, honest party on the left of the political spectrum, then the DA is where you should go. But that's not what South Africa needs. South Africa needs a centrist right government that's focused on small government, free market capitalism, property rights, law and order, prosecution, incarceration, education, and outcomes based on merit, not based on skin pigmentation. And the DA agrees with that part, at least. The DA lost Gale's vote. Yep. Help them, Colonel. The communists need your money. Yes, they do. What's this? Gaten and Pete have never lied to anyone, and they're performing well. No, Pablo, Gaten lied. Gaten lied. We caught him in a lie. He said he would reimburse the family for the expenses of Miss LaRue from the Olympics, and he's not done it. By the way, she's getting married on October 5th. Congratulations to her. Yep. Although the DA also has a centrist right faction. They do, Pablo, and I think that John Sennhuysen is part of that centrist right faction, and he doesn't really know how to lead the party in the direction it needs to go because it's fighting it. Majority of DA voters support the DA not for their policies, but because they are perceived as being the only alternative. Exactly, William. Exactly. DA voters are not social democrats. Exactly. But those people could vote for another party. But the problem is that the Freedom Front Plus has kind of been a little wishy-washy of late, and that kind of irritates people too. The DA are now stuck on the other side of the moon. All right, so how many votes have we got in this poll? 62 votes, 127 here. What's wrong? The rest of you can't push that button? Run as an independent. Okay, let's get to the news here, folks. I did publish a video a short while ago saying he's back about Renaldo. It's not getting many views. 36, that can't be right. Let me reload this page. It's got to be more than 36. 180. Okay, that's a little bit better. Actually, 281 in the first 30 minutes. That used to be 15,000 the first 30 minutes. I miss the good old days on YouTube before the censorship platforms. Anyway, yeah, so, oh, look, they got me again. I didn't say anything bad in that last video, and I got limited again. Probably because I talked about the choosing events. Shame. YouTube keeps limiting the ad suitability for my videos, and it doesn't tell you, it never tells you what you did. Limited or no ad revenue due to content identified as not suitable for most viewers. Yeah, I use a combination of automated systems to detect. No, their automated systems intentionally target my live streams. There's nothing in there that makes it unsuitable. Nothing at all. Anyway, next election, the DA will be no more. They're stuck in the dark. No, they won't go away, Charles. They'll just decline to about 18%. About 18% is where they'll get next time. And the Freedom Front Plus, if it doesn't implode, will go back to 3 or 4% if they're lucky. It's the IFP that has a chance to succeed here, and I don't know how they're going to do. MK will last as long as Jacob Zuma exists on this planet. Once he's gone, it'll die. It's a cult of personality. Hendo's giving you a link to the Renaldo video. Is that my video or Ronaldo's video? Michael Holmes says, very, very hard to be an independent candidate. It is. It is. That's why I had to run as a Republican here in Pennsylvania. You really can't run as something else. That's me, and Rob Hersoff said we need a right-wing Republican alliance. Okay? Don't be mad. Okay? Freedom Front are pivoting towards rainbowism. Poor choice on their part. Yes, exactly. They're waffling now, and that's unfortunate. You can include other people in South Africa of different skin pigmentation as part of your party, but you cannot take leftist policies. That will not work. All right, on to the news, folks. We've talked about Renaldo enough. Before we do that, Perplexity AI is another one of those artificial intelligence engines out there. Grok is out there, Perplexity AI, Microsoft's got its own. There's so many of these out there. Now, the problem with this that I have is that what I've seen so far is that what these AI are so far in their early stages is nothing more than data aggregators who scarf the internet to find sources, and then they simply plagiarize it, flat out plagiarize it, or they simply have the capability to put it in English so that it's readable. That's not artificial intelligence. That's not thinking. That's not deciding. So let me give you an example here. So I went to Perplexity AI, which is one that's come out recently that people are talking about now. And Perplexity AI, I said, who is Colonel Chris Wyatt? Let's see what it had to say. Who is Colonel Chris Wyatt? Well, let's see what Perplexity has to say before we get to the news. So, who is Colonel Chris Wyatt? There's some pictures of me with Gareth over there and my Army War College pictures and Gareth's guest. Okay, so obviously they searched Gareth's webpage. All right, so here you go. It says, based on search results, here are key points about Colonel Chris Wyatt, retired U.S. Army officer with extensive experience in military intelligence, security, and international development, particularly focused on Africa. Serves Director of African Studies at the Army War College, 2015-2019. It's over 30 years experience working in Africa, Europe, Southwest Asia, and North America. Held various positions throughout his military career, including Senior Military Advisor of the African Union, Chief of several offices of security cooperation in African countries, Senior Foreign Area Officer, Deputy Chief of Africa Division, Chief of Staff, National Security Agency, expertise in security sector reform, peacekeeping, international development, graduate of multiple military courses and holds advanced degrees, including Master of Science in International Relations and Master of Strategic Studies. Since retiring from the Army in 2019, he's been working as principal and CEO of the Ndaba Africa Group, known for his insights on South African politics and regularly visits the country. Ooh, that's cool. I didn't write that. So did they come up with that as an artificial intelligence? Also a rugby enthusiast and occasionally provides commentary on rugby matches. There you go. What are some of his most notable achievements? Wow, that'd be interesting. Let's see what they say. Ooh, put some dollar amounts in there. There you go. $21 million, $135 million counterterrorism program. $60 million in counterterrorism program. Mastering 6 languages, varying degrees of proficiency. Wow, that's kind of cool. Anyway, that's Perplexity AI. I'm not sold on these things so far. Not sold on them. Let's see what else. Freedom Front. Okay. Freedom Front is going to struggle, especially now that they're in a coalition with ANC. Yeah, I think so. All right, so there's that. KwaZulu-Natal communities are warned of impending or coming floods when the snow begins to melt. Lots of water sitting there waiting to be released into your streams, creeks, rivers. KZN MEC Buthelezi has warned communities downstream of the Tugela River about potential flood risk due to melting snow. Emergency teams have been praised for their quick response in rescuing stranded motorists and providing relief over the weekend. Yeah, and they some heroic efforts by South Africa's crews with their graders out there to get the roads back in operation. The economic freedom fighters are blaming the government for fatal delays on the N3 rescue efforts. Christopher Buddha reports in the Independent Online, the toilet paper of record. EFF and KZN is demanding the provincial government take responsibility, claiming its slow response to the N3 snowstorm led to at least 2 deaths. Wow. Negligence led 2 deaths, according to them. Mongezi Twala, the EFF KZN chairperson, highlighted government negligence and failure to prevent the foreseeable tragedy, saying this tragedy is a direct consequence of the IFPDA negligence and inability to act in a time responsible manner during an emergency that is both foreseeable and avoidable. EFF said weather warnings were widely reported, yet the KZN government was unprepared for the impending conditions. I wasn't there, but based on the reports and based on the information public available, it seems like the crews were out and operating quickly. The problem is that the irresponsible people on the road who continue to drive in poor weather and clog the roads. It took so long to get people out because people abandoned their vehicles and walked away from them, left them on the road, blocking the traffic. That's not unforeseen. That is shameful conduct by citizens and by motorists, not by the government. So the EFF is just grasping for straws once again. Well, folks, if you're a caterer, you'll land on your feet. Regardless of what you did or didn't do, you'll land on your feet. And the case in point, Naledi Pandor. She's back on her feet. Yes, Jabba the Hutt. Solo. Jabba the Hutt is on her feet. Former International Affairs Minister who cocked up all of South Africa's foreign policy, Naledi Pandor, which is a shame. Naledi is star in Swana. She's hardly a star. Has been named the new chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Foundation Board. Becomes the third person to hold the position since Mandela established it in 1999. Professor Jake Grewel became the founding incumbent. Professor Ndebele served on the board for a quarter of a century, has been the chair for more than a decade. On her appointment, which takes effect on October 1st, Pandor said, in a world facing so many complex challenges, mobilizing Madiba's legacy becomes more important than ever. I believe the Nelson Mandela Foundation is doing critically important work in the social justice space, and I'm looking forward to making a meaningful contribution. Solo. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jabba. No. Social justice? No. That's a communist concept. Social justice. No. Rule of law. That's what matters. Well, how is this a transparent process is what the News 24 says. Suddenly, articles that are objective and fair after the witch hunt to get rid of Renaldo. Now that he's gone, now they can be fair to him. Oh, you got to love the fake media. Imagine if you have had to arrange for emergency service. Yeah, we'd still be waiting. The snow would be melted and the floods would have come through, and they'd still be blaming the IFP and the DA because the passes are blocked when they're not. Yeah. How is this transparent? This is the headline from Amanda Koza. Ousted DA MP Renaldo Gouws cries foul over termination. Former DA MP Renaldo Gouws' membership was terminated after he was found guilty of posting a video with racial slurs on social media, except he didn't post a video on social media. No, that's an event that happened 15 years ago, and people are so afraid of words, such cowards. He didn't attack anyone. Controversial former DA MP Renaldo Gouws cried foul over how his disciplinary hearing was handled and suggests the party's Federal Legal Commission decision to terminate his membership was predetermined and flawed. Well, it sure seems that way. He said, I suggest DA should just save the FLC some time. When you see a case you already have a sanction in mind, then just give them a heads up so that ultimately your outcome is produced without wasting the party's resources or to come with facts that might just change your viewpoint. Basically, what Renaldo is saying, and this story is reiterating, is that the DA FLC had already determined his guilt because they wanted to get rid of him. The hearings were just window washing. That's what they were. Just dressing it up. I don't disagree. Now, Lady Pandor is awful, says William. Yes. Star Wars monsters. Yeah, and the Lady Pandor. Solo. Remember he was encased in carbonite? Well, the road to ruin, a 430 million rand pothole fixing effort to fix the road. And the story is about the money being spent, not about the fact that the road is actually fixed. The Buffalo City Metro spent 430 million rand on upgrading pothole-riddled Settlers Way, which leads to the King Paulo Airport. Initially denying ownership, the Eastern Cape government now claims the road is under its jurisdiction, but they refuse to pay for the upgrades that Buffalo City paid for. One hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing. Yep. Social justice is a synonym for collective retribution. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Well, South Africa seeks to reform the faltering black empowerment scam. That's right. Here's a story in the Sowetan Live. Black privilege on display again. The head of South Africa's flagship Black Economic Empowerment Program plans to introduce additional incentives and potential fines to improve corporate participation and curb exploitation of the system meant to tackle the country's gross inequality. ANC, which has ruled unchallenged for 30 years, is under pressure to improve the lives of black people left disadvantaged by decades of minority rule. The empowerment law was enacted in 2003 with a scorecard forcing corporations in the private sector to hire people based not on competence or performance, but simply based on skin pigmentation. And you can imagine the outcomes. More unemployment, more inequality, more stupidity. Now, they have an anger at it because people who are black, who own shares they were given as a consequence of this patronage scam, and then they sold the shares, they think that those shares must be given to other black people. The black person sold the shares, so if someone who's not black or someone who's not a South African buys them, why should the company be penalized? They sold those shares. They gave those shares to someone who's black. This is what happens when you come up with such ridiculous racist systems of redistribution. Instead of educating South Africa's youth for 30 years, instead of preparing for artificial intelligence, for software, for applications, for telecommunications, for GSM services, for satellite services, instead of preparing for that, what the ANC has done for 30 years is teach racial hatred and retribution. That's been their focus. And dumbing down the electorate at a 30% passing rate in multiple subjects. That's what the African National Congress has accomplished. This nonsense of broad-based black economic empowerment accomplishes nothing except harming all South Africans. If I come to South Africa and I invest $1 million, let's say I do that. I come to South Africa and I start a business. We'll start a business in Somerset West, all right? Let's start a business in Somerset West. We'll compete with Safari Outdoor. We'll sell this stuff, but it will be a rugby-themed outdoor shop. So it'll have both, rugby and outdoor. We'll call it Wyatt's Wonderland or Wyatt's African Adventure. There we go, Wyatt's African Adventure. I'll bring $1 million of capital to South Africa, and I'll start that store. I will interview people to be my manager at that flagship store in Somerset West. And I don't care if they're men, women, black, white, blue, green. The best candidate will be picked. The person I'm most comfortable with, the best candidate. And I can be very comfortable with colored South Africans. I can be very comfortable with black South Africans, white South Africans. So the best candidate will win. That will be the person who will be my manager. The people who are hired by the manager, I'll have a review of it, make sure we're okay with it. We'll do criminal records, background checks, the interviews. They'll be hired, and we'll start the store. Now, if I hire only coloreds, what's the problem? If I hire only white folks, what's the problem? If they're the ones who applied and they're the best candidates. If I got 5 candidates and 2 of them are white and they're high school graduates, they're literate, 2 of them are colored, they're uneducated, illiterate, and 1 is black who's educated at university but overqualified, and I hire the black guy and 1 white person, what does it matter? It's my capital. It's my risk. It's my opportunity, not yours, your government. You cannot have your hands on my capital. I'm the one that laid it there. Otherwise, I just won't come to your country with $1 million. And that's what Elon Musk has done. Starlink all over Africa. Right next door in Mozambique, in Zimbabwe, coming to Botswana, but not in South Africa. You have no right to my capital. I have no historical legacy of oppression in South Africa. I am an interested foreign direct investor who wants to invest in your economy for my profit, my benefit, and to create jobs and to support your economy. And you have no claim to my capital. So foot-sec, piss off. And the same thing with existing companies in South Africa. You should not be forced to give your capital people because you were told to. They didn't have the risk. They didn't spend the time. They didn't build the business. And this nonsense of historical inequality, it ends at some point. I've been granted nothing. I've achieved nothing. I inherited 0 land. I inherited $0. I inherited 0 anything. In fact, my own education, my literacy is a consequence of my own self-drive, not from family. I wasn't sent to a private school with lots of benefits. I went to public schools, some bad, some very good, some horrible. And I, through my own determination, who was functionally literate after high school, went to university, but not very well educated myself through university and beyond university on my own. Became a published author, a polyglot, because of my desire. Not because of some state telling me what I was going to be. Not because of some state taking what they want. This is nonsense. Utter nonsense. South Africa seeks to reform BE. You can piss BE down the drain. It's causing massive unemployment, and it's racist. It's racist. Tatiso Matona. Racist is what it is. And when you morons start to understand that, then maybe South Africa can get itself out of the trap it's in. The first store will open in Somerset West. Maybe second quarter of 2025. Speaking of ownership, JP Morgan is now Sibanyé's third largest shareholder with 6% of the equity. So should we alert the BEE gods, BE overlords? JP Morgan, a U.S. bank, a financial institution, owns 6% of Sibanye Stillwater. What do we do? Who owns JP Morgan? You want to know who owns JP Morgan? I own JP Morgan. Hey, BE, read between the lines. I own JP Morgan. I own shares in it. And I've owned shares in it for 30 years because it was Bank One, a bank that I knew and understood in Ohio, based in Columbus, Ohio. And I bought shares 30 years ago and used to get a 10% dividend every year in stock dividend and cash dividends. And I reinvested every penny in JP Morgan. Then JP Morgan then Bank One merged with First Chicago National Bank, First National Bank in Chicago, and it became a bigger company as Bank One. Eventually merged with JP Morgan, and it took the JP Morgan name and moved its headquarters to New York. But make no mistake, this is a Bank One. Jamie Dimon came from Bank One. He's been a Bank One guy all along. So I own Stillwater. Take that, you racist ANC hustlers. U.S.-based JP Morgan has increased its stake in mining and metals processing group Sibanye-Stillwater, suggesting the finance behemoth is now more bullish towards gold. In a recent buying spree, JP Morgan took a stake in Sibanye at 6.17% of the group's total issued shares, positioning the company as Sibanye's third largest shareholder. JP Morgan's renewed interest in Sibanye reflects the group's bullish sentiment towards gold. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. So the shares have been dropping even though the price of gold has been soaring. Look at that. $15 a share. And JP Morgan has been buying. Yeah, well, I now own Sibanye Stillwater. Love it. Love it. People are devastated with the loss of an American student who purportedly fell to her death. We'll wait and see what the investigation tells us, whether she was mugged and fell to her death as a consequence or she was being foolish or made a mistake. Devastated. God help me and us. Body of missing U.S. student found on Devil's Peak. These are the words of grief-stricken father in the U.S. after the body of his 20-year-old daughter, Brooke Chervant, was found Sunday in Table Mountain National Park. She's a Moorhead scholar from the University of North Carolina, lives in Cape Town doing an internship at an NGO. Went missing after going on a solo hike on Devil's Peak on Saturday. Why in God's green acre do women go on solo hikes in Cape Town? Are you insane? Are you seeking to be raped and murdered? Seriously. Seriously. It's not safe for women to go on hikes on Devil's Peak on Table Mountain. What are you drinking here? It's not her fault, but it's stupid. Stupid. My goodness. We have walked by the spot where a German woman was stabbed to death in a mugging there a couple years ago, just at the base of this peak. Good Lord. Please, please, let her be found. It will be daylight there in 90 minutes. Well, they did find her, unfortunately. We can confirm the body of the missing hiker was found by a search party at 2 p.m. on Sunday in an area which is part of Devil's Peak and was retrieved by EMS helicopter, said police spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Malcolm Pokey. An autopsy will be conducted to determine the possible cause of death. City of Cape Town's pilot aircraft also deployed to assist with the search, resulting in the location of our missing hiker's body on the slopes of the mountain. Circumstances around Hiraka's death have been investigated. Further details of the incident will be provided as necessary, as and when necessary. Mr. Chauvin has asked for posts about her missing to be taken off social media now that her body's been found. Well, Philip de Wet says that democracy eludes Sudan again, and South Africa approves. In its 13 years of existence, 6 of those at peace, South Sudan has never had an election. Supposed to have one in 2015, 2018, 2021, 2023, and again this year. And now doesn't plan to have elections for at least 2 years, so there's very real risk that by the time it actually gets to vote, there will be adult voters who were born into an independent Sudan that had never had a direct say in who governed it. Yeah, democracy is still eluding Sudan as a disappointment to Western countries, but to South Africa it was welcome. South Africa's position is a little more nuanced than that. Actually, President Ramaphosa is impressed that there was a peaceful decision and is ever so gently pushing for more towards, democracy. Yeah, South Africa doesn't care about democracy in South Sudan or about the suffering that's taken place there. They've been completely absent. The only president South Africa's really had in South Sudan was to evacuate their nationals in 2013, December 2013, when a C-130 landed at Entebbe. And I met the crew on the ground in Entebbe. They weren't there because of peace in South Sudan. They're there to get the South Africans out. Tanzania arrests opposition leaders and blocks protest. Police arrested Tanzania's top opposition figures on Monday, their party said, as authorities moved to block a mass protest in the commercial capital of Dar es Salaam, which will no longer be the capital. They're building a purpose-built capital in upland in country. Despite an official ban, the opposition Chadema party has vowed to go ahead with a rally over alleged kidnapping and killing of its members by security forces. Demonstrations are a constitutional right, and we are surprised by the magnitude of force being used by police to threaten people and suppress our freedom. Wow, said Freeman Mbowe, the chairman, before he was led away by police. Freeman Mbowe was arrested by police. Wow, the crackdown by the misogynist President Hassan is shocking in Tanzania, but not really. It's autocratic rule, and it's Africa. That's what Africa knows. Cholera is spreading in Sudan as fighting between rival generals shows no sign of abating. Cholera now spreading war-torn Sudan, killing at least 388 people and sickening over 13,000 in the past 2 months. Wow. The disease is spreading in areas devastated by recent heavy rainfall and floods, especially in eastern Sudan, where millions of war displaced are being sheltered. The casualties from cholera include 6 dead and 406 over the weekend. And South Africa is silent on the war in Sudan. The ANC, which cares so much about Gaza, cares nothing about black Africans. Well, Egyptian warships deliver arms to Somalia. Good Lord. Egypt has delivered more arms to Somalia, including heavy weapons. The two countries share distrust of Ethiopia, Somalia over a Somaliland deal, and Egypt because of the dam on the Nile. An Egyptian warship delivered a second major cache of weaponry to Somalia, including anti-aircraft guns and artillery, port and military officials said today, in a move likely to stoke further friction between the two countries and Ethiopia. Wow, Ethiopia angered Mogadishu by agreeing a preliminary deal in January with the breakaway region of Somaliland to lease land for a port in exchange for possible recognition of independence from Somalia. Whew, man, things are getting crazy in the Horn of Africa. Lebanon says at least 200 are dead after Israeli strikes. Israel urged residents of southern Lebanon to evacuate homes and other buildings where Hezbollah stores weapons. Lebanese health officials said at least 182 people have been killed, probably much more. Over 400 were wounded in the strikes and thousands have fled. That number is now, I believe, 1,800 being reported for wounded and well over 200 dead. The Marxist Anura Kumara Dissanayake is sworn in as Sri Lanka's president. Look at all those medals from people who've never fought in a real war. Marxist politician was sworn in as Sri Lanka's president today after an election that saw voters reject old guard accused of leading the country in economic crisis. Dissanayake, 55 years of age, ran as the head of the Marxist-leaning National People's Power Coalition, defeated President Wickremesinghe, opposition leader Satith Premadasa, and 35 other candidates. In a brief speech after swearing in, he pledged to work with others. We have deeply understood that we are going to get a challenging country. He's the 9th person to hold power. Thought he was the 10th. I'm misreporting that. Meanwhile, the United States government has promised Sri Lanka $553 million now that a communist runs the country. Are you serious? Seriously? That's from last year, by the way. The United States has committed $500 million in financing to support the development of deepwater shipping container port in Port Colombo. So, will we now suspend the $553 million for a communist government? Let's see. Ukraine's grifter president was here in Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen. Ukraine's Zelensky visits Pennsylvania ammunition plant to thank workers and ask for more. It's a shame I didn't know about it because I would have gone to Scranton. Under tight security, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday visited the Pennsylvania ammunition factory to thank the workers who are producing one of the most critically needed munitions for his country's fight to fend off Russian ground forces. Representative Matt Cartwright, a demon rat, was among those who met Zelensky at the Scranton Army ammunition plant. Thank you, and we need more. Scranton plant is one of the few facilities in the country manufacturing 155mm artillery shells and has increased production over the past year. Ukraine has already received more than 3 million of them from the United States. Zelensky said he expressed his gratitude to all the employees. It is in places like this where we can truly feel the democratic world can prevail. Thanks to the people like these in Ukraine and America and all partner countries, we work tirelessly to ensure that life is protected. Yes, we work tirelessly to ensure that life is protected by sending 3 million artillery rounds to Ukraine so they can murder civilians. The grifter-in-chief. The grifter-in-chief himself, Volodymyr Zelensky. No thank you. Get out of my country. Turning our attention to other European countries, the Social Democrats just barely fended off the Alternative für Deutschland in Brandenburg. Ruling left-leaning party wins 31% in a vote in Brandenburg against the anti-immigration AfD's 29%. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz' Social Democratic Party has narrowly beaten the far-right Alternative for Germany in an election in the East German state of Brandenburg. Scholz's center-left party won 31%, and the AfD got 29%. The vote on Sunday came 3 weeks after the far-right made strong gains in elections in 2 other eastern states. The result in Brandenburg thus offered a rare moment of respite for Scholz's embattled coalition. A great result, very great for the SPD and for all of us. I'm sorry. You are a political party that pre-exists the Republic of Germany. You are a political party that dates back to when the Nazis oppressed you, and before that, the Social Democratic Party. And all you can achieve is 31%, and that's success? I'm sorry. I'm not buying that for a second. Lufthansa, the German airline, considers canceling its Frankfurt to Beijing route due to unequal competition. German Airlines cites high cost and weak demand as reasons for the consideration. Well, yeah, I don't want to fly from Frankfurt to China. No, thanks. German airline Lufthansa is considering whether to continue daily operating flights between Frankfurt and Beijing due to high cost, weak demand, and unequal competition from other countries, especially China. As Ukrainian-Russian war continues since 2022, Russia has closed its airspace to most European airlines as retaliation for the West's sanctions after invaded Ukraine. Lufthansa flights have to detour to the south to avoid Russian airspace, adding to the flight time, which increased cost. Meanwhile, Chinese airlines, those from Mideast and others, have shorter flight times and lower costs, benefiting from being allowed to use Russian airspace during the past 2 years. Well, there you go. So Lufthansa is going to drop that route. I don't blame them. I wouldn't fly it. Not just me. Well, Elon Musk and X have blinked in their contest with Brazilian scumbag authoritarian government. Elon Musk blinks first, bowing to pressure in Brazil to reopen X. The impasse has blocked the social media company from one of its most active markets. For more than 3 weeks, the question has loomed over Brazil and much of the tech world. Who would back down first? Would it be Elon Musk? Or would it be Alexandre de Moraes? This weekend it appears that we have an answer. X, formerly known as Twitter, said Friday it had taken steps to comply with demands issued by Brazilian Supreme Court to end the impasse and has severed the company from one of its most active markets. This included naming a representative of the country and blocking accounts that Moraes had accused of propagating misinformation. So, X, which promised to be a free marketplace of free speech, and I claimed it never was, because, for instance, Alex Jones' account has never been restored on X. X is a censorship platform, as I've said all along. And they are complicit with the government, just like they were in America before Musk bought the company for a consortium. They are complicit in censorship in Brazil now. They will censor accounts at the direction and take their marching orders from the corrupt socialist communist government of Brazil, much like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube took their marching orders from the corrupt socialist communist government of the Biden-Harris regime, censoring Americans in violation of the First Amendment. So X is a censorship platform. Do not let them tell you anything else. Elon Musk is full of horse manure, as I've always said. Trump shows signs of strength in the Sun Belt battleground states. New polls from New York Times and Siena College show Trump ahead in Arizona and leading in tight races in Georgia and North Carolina. There you go. We keep being told that Kamala Harris has overtaken Trump, yet she hasn't. In Arizona, he has a 5-point lead. In Georgia, a 4-point lead. In North Carolina, a 2-point lead. That's an average of the two polls. If Trump is leading in these states now, given the number of people who refuse to admit they're going to vote for Trump, he's a shoo-in, provided there's no theft. a man who tried to assassinate Donald Trump, and the authorities in the corrupt Alejandro Mayorkas Department of Injustice refused to charge the man with an attempted assassination, left notes behind saying that's exactly what he was doing. Will the federal government, the corrupt government, the Department of Injustice under Alejandro Mayorkas? That's Homeland Security. Sorry, Homeland Security. Merrick Garland. I said Alejandro Mayorkas. I meant Merrick Garland. Let me correct myself there. I got ahead of myself. Meritless Garland. Will Meritless Garland, the Department of Injustice, now upgrade the charges against the man who attempted to assassinate Donald Trump? Probably not, because they want him dead. They want him dead. Man suspected of assassination attempt against Trump left a letter detailing his plans. The man who authorities say sat with a rifle in the trees where Trump was golfing earlier this month in West Palm Beach previously wrote a letter stating this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. A witness told investigators that Ryan Wesley Ruth had dropped off a box at his home months ago, which contained ammunition, a metal pipe, miscellaneous building materials, tools, 4 phones, and various letters. After learning of the apparent assassination attempt, he opened the box. Apparently, he claims he never opened the box. It's been in his house for months. He never looked at it. Man, I'll tell you what, that's a very trusting friend. One letter addressed to the world said, this is an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and I gave it all the gumption I could muster. It's up to you now to finish the job. He said he's offering $150,000 to whoever can complete the job. He said Trump ended relations with Iran like a child, and now the Middle East is unraveled. No, you moron. The Middle East was secure and peaceful when Trump was in office. What a dumbass. It was not, oh, there's the profanity. It wasn't Trump that did that. It was Biden that did that. Ruth was charged with 2 firearm offenses last week after allegedly fleeing the Trump International Golf Course. More serious charges could be brought in the case as investigation continues. He'll appear in court on Monday for a detention hearing. Prosecutors say a Secret Service agent fired. Anyway, so yeah. So he wrote this letter and left a box of ammunition, all these other things. So here's the gun that was recovered. This is not an AK-47. It may be modified. The only thing that looks like an AK-47 is the barrel. The stock doesn't look like an AK-47. This is some kind of modified weapon here. That's the weapon. Anyway, so now they have the information to upgrade the charges to attempted assassination. They haven't done that. All they do is charge him with illicit gun possession. Nonsense. Senior staff members of North Carolina Republican candidate for governor are bailing on his campaign after the porn revelations. Senior staff members from North Carolina gubernatorial hopeful Mark Robinson resigned amid porn site scandal. The campaign manager and finance director are among those who quit. Wow. A slew of staff members have resigned from Republican Mark Robinson's campaign. Interesting. Washington Post has obtained screenshots and posts that found that a username Minnie Solder praised Hitler's book Mein Kampf. Robinson also denied writing those posts. Well, his campaign is imploding, and so now a Democrat will rule North Carolina, unfortunately. Republicans in swing states say they see scant signs of groups door knocking for Trump. Now, this is what I call fake news. This is propaganda by the Associated Press. Republican activists in swing states say they have seen little sign of teams tasked with knocking on doors and turning out infrequent voters on behalf of Donald Trump, raising concerns about the party's presidential nominee. So, what I can tell you is that in Pennsylvania, a swing state, an important state, 17 electoral college votes. We had 18, I think, or we have 18, we had 19, something like that. Pennsylvania is the key to this election. Not a single person has knocked on my door. I'm a frequent voter. Not a single person I've seen in this neighborhood ever knock on anybody's door. We do have infrequent voters here who are registered members of political parties for Trump or for Harris or Biden. Nobody has knocked. Nobody's done that. I've been inundated with ads on YouTube. I've been inundated with things in my mailbox. I've been inundated with television ads and Roku ads, but I have, especially from the Harris campaign, but nobody has come through here. So this is dishonest. There's a dearth of people knocking on doors for both candidates, not just for the Republicans. So this is meant to dampen down enthusiasm, to get Republicans, to get independents not to vote for Trump. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. Well, Trump says he won't run again if he loses in 2024. Well, duh. If he loses in 2024 at the age of 78, he'll be 82 next time, and he's not going to run. Yeah, of course. Yep. Former President Trump said in an interview that he likely will not run for president again if he loses this year. Made the comments during an interview with former CBS News journalist Cheryl Atkinson. If you're not successful this time, do you see yourself running again? No, I don't. I think that will be it. I don't see it at all. I think that hopefully we're going to be successful in 2024. Well, I hope he is too. Yep. And a tugboat has been fitted to run on ammonia, ladies and gentlemen. Ammonia. Tugboat powered by ammonia sails for the first time, showing how to cut emissions from shipping. Really? Ammonia is a very dangerous substance. On a tributary of the Hudson River in New York, a tugboat powered by ammonia eased away from the shipyard dock and sailed for the first time to show how the maritime industry can slash planet-warming carbon dioxide emissions. The tugboat used to run on diesel. The New York-based startup company Amogi bought the 67-year-old ship to switch to a cleanly made ammonia, a new carbon-free fuel. Well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So this is a company in the United States, and the CEO is named Sung-Hung Woo. Okay, yeah, all right. All right. Interesting. Interesting. And there you have it, folks. That is the end of the news for today. What is this? Native fruit. The pawpaw. Okay. That's all the news for today. All the news is fit to be reported on. We went from 132 down to 105 by the time I finished the news. All right, let's close the poll out. We got 133 votes, and 79% say Renaldo should run. 21% say no. Okay. All right, let me get back and read some of your content in the chat here and see what I've missed here. Quite a bit of chat today. Where are we at here? Dylan says, I defy the EFF to have done a better job. Yeah, I do too. Do not know how to react to stoic conditions. Totally foreign to most South Africans. True. Imagine if the EFF had... Yep, okay, that's where I was at. Carlos Puter, welcome to you. Congo Chris says, Naledi Pender. Pender. In South Africa, you can murder and rape. That's okay. Don't dare use words. Exactly, African idiot. Don't use words. Shares have no color. Exactly, Charles. Shares have no color. Instead of maintaining infrastructure, uselessness elevated. The more they try to empower, the less they become empowered. Exactly, Val. Ask Elon why we can't get fast internet service. Well, because of ICASA. Thriving on illiteracy and uneducated supporters. Can I open a small antique shop in the back called Congo's Curiosities? Maybe Congo. We'll see. The current government does nothing to encourage foreign investment. Correct. They chase it away. President of Emirates Airlines is British. His name is Tim Clark. They thrive on competency, not on color. Exactly, Pablo. ANC want to destroy South Africa. It's the only way for them to fulfill their beloved freedom charter. It's not their freedom charter. See, they got to stop claiming credit for it. I saw that the other day. Someone with the ANC talked about their freedom charter. It's not their freedom charter. And someone else, a commentator, said it's not. The ANC didn't write the freedom charter. That's a historical lie. The Freedom Charter was written largely by South African Jews, and the Pan-African Congress played a far larger role in the drafting of that than did the ANC. That's the truth. That's the facts. But the ANC, just like everything else, the ANC is not responsible for the Black Consciousness Movement. Steve Biko and others are responsible for it. Yet they claim the Black Consciousness Movement, and they claim Steve Biko, who was not with the ANC whatsoever. The ANC are frauds. They're thieves. Anything they think makes them look good, they claim credit for it, whether they did it or not. That's the bottom line here, folks. That's the truth. Instead of making hour-long negative documentary on Iranian's history, they should educate people so they can own businesses and vote. Yeah, exactly, Pablo. Gold is at $26.50. Wow. Moonchild, no, I'm not going to say it's a good time to buy gold right now. I'm not going to say that. And if you don't buy it and it soars to 10,000 ounce, don't blame me. It's a commodity. It is driven not by demand, but by demand and speculation. And that's the problem. The price is right now being driven by speculation, by uncertainty in the global financial markets. That's why the price is up. Not because it has any intrinsic worth any more than it did previously. I'm considering starting to buy silver coins. Because silver, it's much easier to deal with. Yeah, Moonshot, how can she do a solo hike? I'm with you. Chris, you speak German very well. Dorian Hawk says, really? Okay. Das ist aber nett von Ihnen, ja. Also, ja, manche haben gedacht, dass ich Deutscher bin. Aber das Problem ist, täglich habe ich wenig Gelegenheit, Deutsch zu sprechen. Zum Beispiel ab und zu, ich spreche Deutsch hier, also mit meinen Zuschauern. Aber täglich, also es ist schon lange Zeit, ich in Deutschland stationiert bin. Das letzte Mal war in 2013. In 2013 bin ich nach Uganda gegangen und seitdem 11 Jahren habe ich nicht in Deutschland gewohnt. Ich bin da manchmal, ich glaube 2 oder 3 Mal, aber normalerweise habe ich bis 2018 bin ich in Deutschland mindestens ein oder zweimal pro Jahr seit 1984. Yeah, no, it's thank you for that, Doring. When I get into my speaking my German and all the slang and everything comes back that I don't even realize I'm speaking, I am frequently mistaken for being German by Germans. In fact, in France, last year, this was quite a compliment. I was on the French Riviera, climbing a hill, gasping for air, got near the top, paused almost at the top of this ruin, and I saw a couple with their lovely daughters, adorable little kids, goldish. And the girl said something, and I said to him, I said something about, have you been to the castle yet? Did you make it? Are you tired? You look tired. And they started talking to me, and the mother and father talked to me. And then as we're going along, they told me where they live, and they said, so where do you live in Germany? I said, live in Germany? I'm not German. You're not German? They thought I was German. Yes, Charles, I don't know when that photo is from, a space boot. That's crazy. I wonder if she was hiking with that or that's an old injury. But she's only been in South Africa for a month, and that desert could be South Africa, could be somewhere, but it also could be in the States, so I'm not sure. I didn't look closely at it. American women are strong and independent. Yeah, well, and she's passed away now. Blaming everyone themselves, people have to profit. Okay. Leovan says, anyone doing a solo hike is not clever. When we were hiking, we were never told. Yeah, exactly. You should never go hiking alone. Now, said that, I've done it many times. Our Sibanye shares are dropping and our Goldfield share is holding on. Yes, Anna-Marie. Maybe I should buy some Sibanye shares directly. Are there ADRs? Let me see if I can buy them. Sibanye. Sibanye Stillwater stock. Okay, $4.21 US. And it's, let me see, how do I get it? Okay. Where is it traded at? It doesn't, it's on the New York Stock Exchange. Is that right? So what's the symbol? Oh, there it is, SSBW or SBSW. Okay, I can buy Sibanye. Hey, maybe I'll buy some. Maybe I'll be a South African mine owner. I already own a diamond mine in Botswana, right? There you go. Yeah, I should log into one of my brokerage accounts. Yeah. I'm going to do that right now. Let's see. Let me log in and see if I can get a quote on this, if I can buy it. You guys might be witness to history right here. All right, let me get into this account, okay, because I have multiple accounts in there because my broker stopped doing brokerage business. Okay, I want to get a quote. Okay, where's a quote at here? How do I get quotes? Trade, okay. Stocks, they changed this stuff, man. Okay, let me see. Okay, put in the stock symbol. Okay. Okay. It's not there. Oh, there it is. $4.21 a share. 52 week, it's been $3 to $6 a share. So, yeah, I can buy it. Exchange traded fund. Yep. It's a stock. Sibanye Stillwater. Okay, well, there you go. I can buy it. Just don't have much money in that account. Yep, I can buy it. There are ADRs, American Depository Receipts, which means it's not the actual stock. The stock is listed elsewhere, either London or South Africa. Well, there you go, folks. So I can buy it. I can buy it. I can be a rich South African mine owner, even though I have the wrong skin pigmentation. Yep. Islamic Caliph. Okay. Netanyahu's brother died. Yes, he did, Chris. I'm aware of that. I've also seen the bullet holes in the terminal that are still there. Just discovered and followed you on X. Well, thank you, Dory. Yeah, so my X account is WMW Chris. Thank you. I've had X for that account, which is not my first account, for since 2006, I think it is. And so almost 20 years there. I've got over 10,000 tweets, 11,000 now, and I only have 1,900 followers. I don't get much traction. So thank you for following me there. Who better speak on behalf of the poor than an Oxford grad? Why is Israel doing attacks? They're retaliating, scientists, because Hezbollah has been firing rockets into northern Israel and killing civilians. So that's why they're doing it. Pablo says, just another woke political commentator who thrives and profits from victim-minded viewers and politically correct content. Who is that? Who is that? Oh, Mpofu Walsh. I missed that. Perfect exemplifies the bourgeois socialists taking up the mantle of revolution. Yeah, I know. Mpofu Walsh, please spare me. Yeah, spare me. Notice how establishment institutions reward people for espousing ideas that comply with the narrative regime. Dan Quarters, the same espouses. Yeah, exactly. So he gets a show. I don't have a show. I'm not being offered anything. And I actually know what I'm talking about. And my predictions are correct. You notice that not one South African media outlet has ever covered a story on me. Not one. Yet hundreds of thousands, if not millions of South Africans know who I am. And tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, actually follow me. Yet I don't ever make it on the media scene down there. That's fine. They can ignore reality as long as they want. Yep, all social media platforms censor people. Establishment rewards him with a late night show on the NCA for espousing views that espouse official narrative. Exactly. They call it a modified AK-47. I'll accept that. It's seriously modified. Different stock, scope. That's not what AK-47 comes with. The magazine and the barrel are clearly AK-47. Can't see the chamber. So, what makes a state a swing state? What makes a state a swing state is a closely divided electorate that one time votes this way, one time votes that way. In 2016, Pennsylvania went for Trump. Michigan went for Trump. In 2020, Michigan and Pennsylvania went for Biden. Swing state. California has been Democratic nominee getting the electorate in every election since 1988. Before that, it was almost always Republicans. So it's not a swing state. States that are very close are swing states. There are 7 of them that are critical ones in this election. When I did scuba diving, you're taught to always buddy up. Yep, same with hiking. You're right. You should have it. Erica says, my French is also very good. Thank you for that. C'est très gentil de... je suis très heureux que vous êtes confortable avec mon niveau de français pour parler. Mais c'est pas la même chose avec l'écrire. C'est un peu difficile pour moi parce que je ne suis pas grandi avec la langue de français. J'ai appris français quand j'avais déjà plus de 40 ans. Ça, c'est 39. J'avais 39 ans. C'est très difficile. They have said it's an SKS rifle. Okay, Tommy, thank you for that. Stop it. Just slide down my chair. Huh? No idea what you're saying there, Camel. All right. Oui, baguette. You guys are funny. You guys are funny. Hit the like button. Come on. 99 likes. Get us over the top. Push us over the top. Anyway, elections coming up. I've got responsibilities as judge of election. I've got to marshal my forces and get it all together and let people know what's going on. Yes, Pablo Charlie, I reported that Ian Khama is back in Botswana, that he appeared before the magistrate, that the warrant for his arrest was rescinded, and he will make his court appearance, I think, tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Charles studied French in school back in 1986. He remembers it. Well, I didn't start learning French until 2000. I went to a immersion course at the Defense Language Institute, and I graduated with high honors. I wasn't the honor graduate. That went to someone else, but I had the best marks. So. Well, he addressed the nation. I haven't seen that, Pablo Charlie. Let's take a look at that. Google. Ian Khama. Let's see what news there is out there. No, there's nothing in the news. So I don't know how you saw that. You must be because you're in South Africa. They're talking about. Didn't see that. Anyway, so there's no news reporting on it. And nobody in Botswana has reached out to me and told me he spoke to the nation. People know my view on Ian Khama. It's not unbiased. I'm biased. He was a good president for Botswana. He saved them from total collapse when the diamond market fell out. in 2008 in the global financial crisis. He guided that government. And his position against Mugabe's insanity was clear-hearted, clear-headed. And so my position on Ian Khama is pretty clear. I'm not unbiased. But I do report on him objectively. I have criticized his wokeness when it comes to environmentalism and also his criticism of Trump. But I am clearly a fan of Ian Khama. Not a fan of his party, the Botswana Democratic Party, which has become quite the mess with his successor, Mokwetsi Eric Masisi. It's a shame what's happened to Botswana. Truly a shame. It was one of the most draconian, fascist, liberty-crushing governments in the world during the lockdown, creating zones and sectors, and if you traveled outside them without a pass, they had pass laws in Botswana. Botswana had pass laws. That wasn't based on skin color. It was just based on who you were. Yep. Wow. Did you meet Ian Khama? Sedgefield. Do people watch my channel? I've interviewed him in person. My goodness. Let me see. Ian Khama. Ian Khama. 10 March of last year, in person, 1 hour interview with Ian Khama. Here we go. And then I've interviewed him from a distance too. This one was live. Now this one's at a distance. This wasn't live.
The situation in the country whereby our photographic tourism grew very significantly, and we had managed to subdue to a great extent a lot of the poaching. So when I came into office, we didn't really have hardly any rhinos in the wild. They were all in sanctuaries.
So that was that one. And hang on a second. That was on his decimation. That was right after I interviewed him in person in South Africa. I interviewed Ian Khama in person in South Africa. So let me find that one. Khama. Here it is. February 28th. Okay, President Khama's legacy in Botswana, the Indaba conversation with Colonel Wyatt. Okay, we're recording now.
That they felt they needed to put in place in those early years. But we were immersed in the region where there was a lot of instability because of the apartheid regime in South Africa, the Rhodesian rebel regime, the Portuguese colonization of Mozambique and Angola.
So that's Ian Khama. When I interviewed him, I had 3,500 views 1 year ago. Tony Nagy. Where has Tony Nagy been? I haven't seen Tony Nagy in a while. Melanie Todd I haven't seen in a while. Who else is on here that commented? Chris Swanepoel hasn't been around for a week or so. Where'd Chris go? There's one negative comment on there. Just looking at it. So yeah, I know Ian Khama. I know him personally. I when I was in the embassy in Botswana, I met him and went and sat with him along with our ambassador, and we made recommendations to him. We suggested that he sack his defense minister because of contracts that looked like patronage to his wife's company, and it was inappropriate. Said that's not the way to do it. He did what he wanted to do. So yes, I have interviewed Ian Khama. Who asked me that question? Okay. Oh, it was Sedgefield. Yeah, so I have met Khama, yeah. Yep. It wasn't that old a man when I first met him. Now he's up there in years. It's quite shocking how drastically the white population of South Africa has declined. I observed that South Africa was 22% white. No, the population has not declined, William. That's not an honest statement here. The facts are not. That's not true. The population in 1911 was over 1 million whites. Today, it's 4.8 million whites. It's 5 times as large. The population of blacks was about 3 million in 1911, and today it's 45 million. That's the difference. Whites have declined as a percentage of the population, but their numbers haven't declined. This is despite massive emigration in a wave that started in 1992 to 99 and then more who've left in the last 5 years. So we're talking that the white population, if those people had not left and reproduced in South Africa, would probably be closer to 6 million in South Africa today, easily. But the percentage would still be lower. But no, it's not. No, there are plenty of people there. It's much larger than it used to be. South Africa was, in the 1960s and 70s, reinforced after the Second World War with lots of Brits who came down, immigrated there, some Germans who came there after the Second World War. And then in the 1970s, South Africa was hit with hundreds of thousands of ethnic Portuguese who didn't go back to Portugal when they fled from Angola, especially, and some who fled from Mozambique. They moved to South Africa and became part of the South African so-called white community. So yeah, so that's reality there. Is it William that said that? Yeah, William. So there you go. Power off and table view. I have not commented much as I was watching my TV. Much easier to comment on my laptop. Thank you, Tommy Sides. Couldn't even see your live commentary on U.S. debate. Not even notifications. Nothing. Well, it was on the other channel, wasn't it? Can't remember which channel I did on. What do I think about U.S. Embassy in Pretoria so close to Russian Embassy? It's also close to the Chinese Embassy. It's right down the street, about a quarter mile. It's in Hatfield. What do I think of the embassy? It's an incredible building. And now it's starting to show its age. It's old. But the first time I went there over 20 years ago, it was like impressive. It was unbelievable. It's very functional. It meets the needs. A lot of what we need to do is accomplish there. Some of it's accomplished off-site. It's pretty secure. And yeah, it's very convenient. But close to the Russian Embassy, nothing to do with anything. It's where the U.S. had land. Richard says, Ian is a legend. Went to fundraising. Ian arrived in his mountain bike. Yeah, he is a legend, Richard. He is an absolute legend. He is an absolute legend. Yes, William, that's correct. It's declined from 22 to 7%. You're correct, but the numbers haven't declined. There's 5 times as many white people living in South Africa today as there was in 1911. 5 times. No, I know you meant percentage, but I'm saying but you didn't state that first. That's why I corrected it. Do they have underground tunnels? Does who have underground tunnels? I speak a few languages too: English, Afrikaans, Portuguese, Spanish, a little German, and talk a lot of crap. Yes, that's where the embassies are in Hatfield, by and large. There are some exceptions. Yep, that has nothing to do with where the Russians are. Anyway, that was Ian Kama on my channel last year, and I had him on twice. We talked about that, then we talked about rhinos. Yep. Okay. Yeah, South Africa's black population is out of control. It's explosively out of control. There's no justification for black South Africans reproducing at the rate they're reproducing. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. And that 45 million is reinforced by probably another 6 million illegal immigrants. Yep. Anonymous Lex is back. Hey, how's it going? Yep. Most embassies are in proximity. There's a reason for that. The embassies have to engage with the government. Government ministries are located near there. Union buildings are right down the street. It's very close. You need to be close to the proximity of government. And then they also need, ideally, be close to each other. Embassies don't need to be running all over town to meet each other. That was a problem we had in Tunisia. The other embassies were everywhere. They were dotted everywhere because Tunis was such a mess. Then the Americans built this massive embassy compound opposite the National Guard headquarters out on the east side of town on the way towards Carthage. And that's the one that was overrun while the National Guard stood there and watched across the street. And they destroyed people's cars and their property, and what was horrible. I don't know why they attacked us. We weren't responsible for their mess. They voted Ben Ali in. Born Free takes on a new meaning. Yeah, Born Free was a television show about lions from East Africa. It means something very different in South Africa. Waterkloof and Groenkloof. What's there? Oh, yeah, there's some embassies there, yeah. Yeah, minor countries, but the big countries have their embassies. I mean, China has a massive embassy on the opposite. What's the street that's on the other side? Skuman comes one way going west to east, and then the other side, I don't know what that road is. What is that road? Hang on a second here. Maps. Let's go to maps. Go to Pretoria. Google Maps. We'll zoom out from where I'm at. Switch it to map, not... There we go. Wait, won't take as much data. Let's go over to South Africa. We'll zoom into Pretoria. Pretoria East, Hatfield is where we want to go. Okay, there's Hatfield. It's called Stanza Bopana now? What the hell is that? Stanza Bopana. Oh, Pretoria Street's what I'm looking for. Pretoria Street. Yeah, it's Pretorius. So you got now Schoeman, which is now Francis Bard. Schoeman goes east, west east, and Pretorius goes west east. Excuse me, east to west, west east. Yep. The only black in Kamala Harris is brown. Zimbabwe's white population today is almost non-existent. Yeah, it's less than 30,000. That's correct, William. Its peak was about almost 400,000, 380,000, 390,000 in 1976, 77 timeframe. Today it's down to about 30,000. Richard says, I'm a settler. My wife is part Portuguese, most beautiful woman in the world. I don't know about that, but I'll take your word for it. They changed its original name. It was Pretorius. Yeah, no, it's still listed here as Pretorius. Stanza Bopapa is the next street over. I was looking at it wrong. Pretorius is still listed here, while Francis Bard is the name. So, yeah, I know that area very well. The university's there, Tucky's, and then you got Loftus, Ferrisfeld around there. It's all, I know that area very well. Yep. Anyway, so... Yeah, when Bonn was the capital, all the embassies were in Bonn. Now they've relocated to Berlin. Yep. Yes, James, Renaldo is back on YouTube. That's what the title of this video is. Renaldo Gouws is back. And Renaldo was actually in the broadcast earlier. Let's see if he sent me something here since then. Nope. Anyway, yeah, Renaldo's back. I did a video, and hopefully some people watch it. And Wednesdays with the Colonel's back. Renaldo didn't ask me. He just posted it. So I sent a note. I said, did I agree to this? I don't remember that. And so Wednesdays with the Colonel will be back this Wednesday. So 7 p.m. Camel Toe once read a book about glue and couldn't put it down. You're so funny with the dad jokes. They changed most names in Durban for whatever reason. It's not like they were apartheid names either. Most were leading people in Durban. Exactly. Because they can. Because they can. That's why they did it, Charles. It's just spiteful. There was no permanent residence built there by anyone until it was built by the English. They settled Durban. They created a settlement. Yes, the jacaranda are beautiful in Pretoria. They're lovely. And they're also quite lovely in Harare. Yep. What did you miss? Says Lex. I don't know, Lex. What did you miss? I don't know how long you've been gone. People come and go. Change the name from Cape Town to something else. I don't know about that. Cape Town is not going to change. It's just not going to change. The name won't change. Yeah. Yes, Renaldo is definitely back on YouTube. We've talked about that, folks. That's what the whole stream was about earlier. Let me take a look and see how the other video is doing. If we gained any subscribers. Well, we got one back that we lost. Last night we lost 2. We got one of them back. Okay, 640 views. That's not even one of my better performing videos. 12 comments. Let's take a look what the comments are. What's this? Glad he's returned. Oh, well, it keeps changing. Love Renaldo. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Okay. DA shafted him. He's back in full force. Okay. Yeah, some people are commenting, so thank you for that. But my videos aren't doing particularly great. The last one got 1,000. So, we report the news, whether people watch or not. Nothing I can do about that. Bedford View has more jacaranda than Pretoria. Really? Didn't know that. Why are they saying that Pennsylvania will be the most important place for votes? Because it's a real toss-up here, and the number of votes matter. So let's go back to the, hang on a second. We did this the other day. ABC News electoral map. Let me go to that, okay? And I'll show you how many electoral votes. Pennsylvania's 19 electoral votes. I said 17 or 18. It's 19. So that's critical. We did this whole thing. Let me see if I can go to get the blank map here. Okay, we'll just do it again. Okay, we'll do the blank map again. Okay, you guys ready for that? All right, here we go. All right, so California goes to Harris. Oregon, Washington go to Harris. Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, all go to Harris. Harris also gets Illinois. And there you go. She has 159 electoral votes already right there. All right, Trump gets Texas, done deal. Florida, done deal. That's 70 for him right there. Trump also gets South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and now it's 138. Ohio. These are solid wins for Trump. Indiana. And now Trump is ahead of her 166 to 159. Okay. Let's say she gets Wisconsin. She gets Michigan. She gets New Mexico, Colorado. Okay? New York. Now she has 227. She needs 270 to win. This is where it gets interesting. All right. Maine will split between her and Trump, so we'll give it to her. Those votes will be split 2-2. This map doesn't let me do that. Nebraska will go to Trump because it's the other state that divides his electoral college that way, so we'll switch it. So now it's 231 to 171. Trump is way behind. I mean, at this stage, it looks like the race is over, right? It looks like it's all over. Particularly when all those early votes come in the mid-Atlantic states, in the Northeast, they'll come in very quickly, 7 p.m., 7:30. The new media already at 7 p.m. say, Virginia's just closed and it's gone for Kamala Harris. That's what they're going to do. And to make it look like she's winning an overwhelming race, which will dampen down the vote in the plain states and the western part of the country. People won't go vote like it's all over, it's lost. But you can't do that. You can't do that. So now we're at 231 to 171. What happens next? Well, Trump is going to get North Dakota. He's going to get South Dakota. He's going to get Wyoming. He's going to get Montana, Idaho, Utah. And now it's 231 to 194. But Trump still needs a lot of votes, right? Okay, Trump will also get Kansas, Missouri. Okay, she's going to get Minnesota. That puts her 241. Now she's in striking distance of winning it. And there's only a handful of states. New Hampshire will go to Trump. Okay, so now it's close, 241, 213. Let's give her New Hampshire as well, okay? 244. She's so close now. Trump gets North Carolina. All right, that leaves these handful of states. Nevada goes to Trump. Okay? So it's 244 to 232, and it comes down to these four states. Iowa. Let's give her Iowa, okay? I don't think she's going to get it, but let's give it to her, okay? Let's give her Arizona. She's got 261. She just needs 9 more. Now it comes down to Georgia. Trump gets Georgia, and he's close. He doesn't have enough to win. She doesn't have enough to win, but she's closer. She's closer. He gets Alaska. She gets Hawaii. She's 5 electoral votes from winning this race, and Trump is 19. And what's left? Winner take all Pennsylvania. Winner take all Pennsylvania, 19 votes. Now you know why Pennsylvania matters. Because the race is close here. Yeah, she gets Hawaii. I gave her Hawaii. Okay, look, Tommy, I know. I'm just worst casing this, okay? This is not my projection. You're asking why Pennsylvania matters. This is how it can come down to Pennsylvania mattering right there. That is not what I believe, okay? It's not what I believe. I'm just showing you how it can go. So let me save that one, okay? And then I'm going to show you the changes that I'm going to put in here, okay? All right? I'm going to show you the changes I'm going to put in here. Where I think it's actually going to come down to, okay? So hang on. All right, so now we go back, all right? Iowa's not a red state, Tommy. I lived in Iowa. Okay, so I think he wins Pennsylvania, and he wins the race with 270, exactly right, with this, the way it comes out like this. That's a 270 to 265 split right there. That's worst case. All you need is 270, not 271, 270. So Trump wins the election 270 to 265 in that circumstance. However, I don't think it's going to go that way. Let me change this up and show you what I think is actually going to happen here, okay? All right, so now we're going to do the change. I think that he wins Arizona, all right? I think that he wins Iowa, okay? I think that he wins Michigan. And that makes it 302 to 233. Suddenly, she's way down. All right? There you go. I think that's what it looks like, something like that. That's what I think comes out of this. I don't know what's happening in Virginia, what the polls say, but I think that's what happens. All right? That's my projection. He wins. I thought it was going to be a landslide when Biden was a candidate. It was going to be a landslide, but not anymore. Williams says, no way she'll get Iowa. Well, no way that Biden was going to get last time, but he got it, didn't he? He got it last time. I knew things were gone when that night they said Georgia went for Biden. I'm like, no way. How does Georgia go for Biden? That's insane. And then we saw the votes magically, hundreds of thousands of votes disappear in the reporting numbers from Pennsylvania. And then we saw that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court violated the law and allowed ballots to be counted for 3 days after they arrived, after the election. So people voted after the election. And then we saw what happened. No, Charles, Virginia is gone for the Democrats last few times. Let me see. Okay, Virginia over the years. Virginia, Pennsylvania voting history. Let's see if I can find here, okay? So, here's the problem with Virginia, okay? Virginia, in 2000, 52% for Republicans, 54% in 2004. But since then, 2008, 53% for Democrats. 2012, 51% for Democrats. 2016, 49% for Democrats. And 2020, 54%. That's a 10% gap that has to be swung. So you can see the presidential, it was consistently a Republican state, 76, 80, 84, 88, 92, 96, 2000, 2004. But then all the evil leftists moving into Northern Virginia suburbs in Fairfax and Alexandria and Loudoun County have switched it 4 races in a row now. It's gone Democrat, and it's gone by a significant margin. So there you go. You see it was Republican for a long time, with just one exception in 64. Look at that. And long ago, it was all Democrat. That's the entire history. Federalist, Democratic Republican Party. Then the modern Democratic Party came out in 1828, and they've won it, the race 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24, 5, 6, 7, 8. 32 times in the history of presidential races, they've gone for a Democratic candidate. And not all these races count because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the first races, there was no Democratic Party. Yep. Look at that. Look at that. So, they weren't allowed to vote in 1868 because they were in rebellion. 64 and 68, that's why there's a gap there. But that's Virginia's voting history. And that's why it's a tough slide. Now, let's look at New Hampshire. Okay. Let's look at New Hampshire's voting history. Okay. All right. So this is why it's a problem for Trump, New Hampshire, and he might not get New Hampshire. So in 2000, the Republican won with 48%. In 2004, Democrat won at 50%. 2008, 54%. 2012, 52%. In 2016, they won barely 46.8 to 46.5. 2020, 53% for Democrat. Here's their history. It was solidly Republican forever, from 1856 all the way up until 2000. It was a solidly Republican state with a few instances Democrats. But for 5 consecutive elections, Democrats have won New Hampshire. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So that's New Hampshire. So, I mean, that's the problem here, folks. It's not reliable. So now let's take a look at Pennsylvania, okay, which has been all over the place. Pencil. Okay, all right, let's look at Pennsylvania now. All right, here's Pennsylvania. 2000, Democrats. 2004, Democrats. 2008, Democrats. 2012, Democrats. 2016, Republican. 2020, Democrats. That doesn't look good for Republicans. Okay? We have lost electoral vote because our population didn't grow as much as others. But if you look at it, that's why it's a swing state. Republican, Democrat, Republican. So but for years it was all Republicans. Look at that. From 1860 until 1932, it was a Republican vote, with one exception. The Progressive Party won in 1912, but that's because it was Teddy Roosevelt. A solid string of Republican voting in Pennsylvania. Here, Biden also sits in cabinet meetings. Yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah, that was my first question. They're talking about classified information. What is she doing there? I mean, let's look at Iowa's history. He comfortably won in 20. I don't think so. Let's look at Iowa's voting history, which has been conservative for the most part. Okay. Yeah, he did win comfortably in 2020. You're correct. So let's take a look. So, 2000, it went to the Democrats. 2004, it went to the Republicans barely. 2008, Democrats. 2012, Democrats. 2016 and 2020 went to the Republicans. So if we look here, but look at that history. Lots of red Republicans. Only recently, from the 80s, did it trend with these blue lines out of the norm. What do you put New Hampshire going Republican for all those years to voting Dems in the last 5 elections? This is the influx of people from Boston and New York who are seeking to get away from the cities that they've destroyed, and then they move into New Hampshire. That's where I put it. New Hampshire is a conservative state, but has foolishly been voting against its interests for some time. Yep. So that's those states. Let's take a look at California. Just because I've told you this before about California's history, California presidential elections over the years. Okay. All right. California. All right. Here you go. This is scary here. All right. So in 2000, it was 53% for Democrats. 2004, 54. 2008, 61. 2012, 60. 2016, 61. And then almost 64% in 2020. Look at that. The last 6 elections, the Republicans have gotten shellacked. But look at this. That's recent. Going back to 1860, all the way forward, with the exception of the Roosevelt years, it was almost exclusively Republican. Look at that. All the way through. But then suddenly, after 1988, it's gone. And that's because of illegal immigration. California has been beset by millions of criminal alien invaders who've invaded California. And Reagan in the 80s, foolishly in the 1980s, gave them amnesty, 3 million of them, many of them living in California. And then they voted for Democrats. And you can see what happened. That's California. It's gone. There's no bringing California back. Although when Biden was still in the race, it was 49-49 in polls in California, which no media outlet was talking about. And Trump had not even campaigned there, and he had 49%. So, William, I just said that about Iowa. Which country most fears a Trump win? Iran. China doesn't fear us because Trump won't disengage from China. No one will. We're too intertwined. And Iran is the one who fears the most. Which does U.S. military fear most? China, Iran, or Russia? At this stage, because China's Navy is larger than ours, it's a bigger threat. We're not afraid of Russian forces. We've seen they can be defeated easily in the field by a third-rate power like Ukraine. Even without U.S., we didn't put any weapons, and NATO put no weapons in the first 2-3 months of this campaign, and Ukraine pushed them back on their own. Kamala's winning. Trump doesn't have the numbers. Michael Holmes, you're delusional. Did you not pay attention to what I said earlier? What planet are you living on? Stop believing what you want to believe and start believing the truth. You know, that's really helpful. Okay, why is that on the screen? What the hell's with my mouse? Okay, for some reason the screen is on. Oh, I know why. Hang on. Stop believing what you want to believe and start believing the truth. I already covered this story. You're just delusional, man. Here you go. There you go. New York Times, Michael. New York Times. Okay? Leftist rag it is. The old dingy gray lady herself. Trump shows signs of strength in Sunbelt battlegrounds. New polls from New York Times and Siena College show Donald Trump is ahead in Arizona and leading in tight races in Georgia and North Carolina. He's way ahead in Arizona by 5 points. In Georgia, he's ahead by 4, and in Carolina, he's ahead by 2. In Pennsylvania, they're tied. In Georgia, he's ahead. In Michigan, they're tied. In Wisconsin, he's ahead. In Iowa, he's ahead. Michael, what planet are you living on? What do you mean Trump doesn't have the numbers? I just went through all this. That doesn't mean Trump's going to win, because we know what happens with mail-in ballots. But Chris was very annoyed at the debate. I was very annoyed. It wasn't a debate. It was an ambush. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia going to Kamala. Nope. Georgia's clearly in Trump's lane right now. Wisconsin is Trump's lane. Michigan is tied, and Pennsylvania is tied. So don't believe polling. Well, then where are you getting your information from, Michael? Well, why should I believe your assessment over the polls? You got a good reason for it? Don't believe polling. I've said that all along. Believe the only place you need to pay attention is the battleground states. Roger Rabbit, where have you been, man? Long time. Notice how leftists, when things are inconvenient, they don't like them. Anyway, that's what things look like with these presidential polls. Yep. Anyway. Yeah, so we're supposed to believe in 2016 the Democratic nominee got 1.9 million votes. It's the most they ever got. And Trump got 1.7 million. And then in 2020, Trump got 200,000 more. He got 1.9 million, which still wouldn't have beat Hillary Clinton's total from 2016, but it was more for him. But then Joe Biden jumped by 500,000 votes in Virginia. 500,000, 2.4 million setting a record. We're supposed to believe that. Oh, my goodness. Every election from 76 to 2004, Virginia was won by a Republican. But the last 4 have been run by a Democrat. Anyway. Are you thinking of becoming a Floridian? No, I don't like Florida. I don't like it. Hurricanes, mosquitoes, bugs, brutal humidity, traffic. It's flat. No, Florida has zero appeal to me. I would never live in Florida unless somebody paid me a ton of money and I lived in a luxurious Mar-a-Lago kind of place, Now, Florida has no appeal to me. Texas has no appeal to me whatsoever. I don't like Texas. I like New Mexico. Arizona has little appeal to me. I've lived there. I don't need to live there again. Utah is interesting. But out that way, my preference would be Wyoming of all those places. Theodorus is hitting the nail on the head. Trump won't win because of the powers that be. Well, that may very well be the case. Under Trump, there was unrest and chaos. What has happened under Joe Biden? Oh, my God. What has happened under Joe Biden? Let's see. 9 days after Joe Biden became president, Myanmar's military overthrew the Democratic elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi and put her in prison and began committing genocide against the Rohingya and began suppressing the population, and Biden did nothing. 9 days after he was elected. 6 weeks after Joe Biden was elected, the Russians moved 60,000 troops to the border of Belarus and Ukraine and Russia and Ukraine, and Biden said and did nothing, ignored it. Nothing was said about it. Let's see what else. Then Joe Biden made an idiotic announcement that on September 11th, the United States would completely withdraw from Afghanistan, thereby encouraging the Taliban to go on a murder rape spree. And we saw the oppression of women, the execution of women, the gang rapes of women, the suppression of liberty and rights, the lack of education for women. We saw the barbaric conditions taking place in Afghanistan as a consequence of Joe Biden. Hundreds of thousands of people are dead in Afghanistan because of Joe Biden's lies and his competence and cowardice. What else have we seen? We have seen a horrendous spike in racist assaults and crimes in America being covered up by the FBI as white Americans are assaulted in the streets, particularly women, by black Americans all over the country. And the media covered up, the government covered it up. But the cases are there. You can't deny it. What else have we seen, Michael? What else have we seen? We have seen the prices of things double and triple. My electric bill is twice what it was despite lower consumption 3 years ago. It's twice what it was 3 years ago. My petrol bill for my gasoline for my car went as high as $5 a gallon from $1.81, all within weeks of Biden putting uncertainty into the global markets by blocking the Keystone XL pipeline illegally, which he can't do with an executive order, but he did it anyway, just like Obama did. We saw attacks on the energy industry shutting down leases, which puts uncertainty in, and he'll claim that there's record production. Well, the record production is a consequence of what Trump put in place, and the energy markets moved that direction. We've seen Joe Biden sell our national strategic energy stockpile, our oil, reducing it by 2/3, selling it to the Chinese, selling our strategic reserve to the Chinese buying 5 million barrels a day from our strategic reserve. What the hell is going on there? That's what we've seen. We've seen interest rates go from 0.5% to 5+%, and people unable to buy homes, cars, businesses unable to expand. We've seen people struggling to find jobs. People struggling to make it from paycheck to paycheck. We have seen abject misery and suffering in the United States and around the world because of Joe Biden. Michael Holmes, what else would you like to hear? Domestic. What happened under Joe Biden? I just gave you some of the domestic stuff happened under Biden. But you notice how he asked, about how calm it was, and then I explained that, and then suddenly it's domestic. What's next? Do you want to know what Joe Biden did in Virginia? Is that what you want to know, Michael? That's what leftists do, man. They try to move the goalpost all the time. Joe Biden has been an unmitigated disaster for this country and for the world. And so is Kamala Harris. And so is Barack Obama. And frankly, in many ways, so is George Bush. That's right, Pablo Charlie. San Francisco had to act like an African republic, driving all the riffraff, pushing them away from the streets, cleaning up the needles, wiping up the feces, hosing down the streets, just so they could host their Chinese overlords when he came over there. Rian Trosse says, let's hope it's fair. Well, I hope it's fair. I'm a judge of elections, and I will be at the polling station here at my polling station, which will prevent me from doing my live stream until about midnight. For South Africans, that's not a big deal. It'll be tomorrow. You'll get to listen in tomorrow. But at midnight on Election Day, so it'll be the 6th of January, I will be going live, assuming my channel's still around, and I'll be covering the results coming in, talking about it, and we'll discuss it. But I don't finish my business as a judge of elections normally. I don't get home until 11:30. That's assuming I don't hit a deer because it's deer season. They're out running on the roads, crossing the roads, and I pay a toll just to go all the way around on the interstate and highway, where it's safer. It's less likely to see deer. But if I go on the back roads, the deer run out in front of you and you trash your car and then you ruin your car. So I have to do that because I have to take the results, the thumb drives and the tapes, and the printouts, and all the ballots in the secure boxes down to the polling station or to the county on election night. So yeah, November 5th. Afghanistan, Ukraine war, Gaza. I didn't even go there, but he wants a monetary policy too. But you seem to be delusional about job growth and economic growth under Biden. My country and most countries have huge amounts of inflation, high oil prices because of OPEC. No, I don't just blame Keystone. Did you listen to anything I just said there, Michael? I said because of the uncertainty that he put into the geopolitical space, particularly in energy markets. He blocked leases on federal land. He upset global security, and he put uneasiness in the global marketplaces with his actions. He proved to be feckless, and he will take no action against totalitarians and fascists, and he'll do nothing to ensure the supply of energy gets to where it needs to go. That's what caused it. And then it has a knock-on effect. When oil goes up double in price, everything that relies on oil goes up in price. And the other reason why things are so bad is because the demented, demonic obsession with the religion of climate change and the subsidies sucking money out. And the other thing is he's driven up inflation because the federal government is spending $2 trillion it does not have. They're already stealing $5.4 trillion from our pockets to enrich their favored friends. On top of that, Biden's budget this year is $2 trillion in deficit spending. Beyond that, that's before any supplementals come along. That's a $7.4 trillion. That $2 trillion is sucked out of the credit markets. That's money that I can't borrow to buy a car, that I can't borrow to start a business, that I can't borrow to invest in my business, that I can't borrow to buy a home because it's out of there. And I have the means and the credit score so I can still go get credit, but people with lower credit scores get nothing. They get aced out. And then we get, well, it's all racism. No, unreliable, inconsistent borrowers can't borrow money because they're a huge risk. Only people who are a safe risk, who would have a history of paying back their debt, can get that money. But we have to pay a much higher rate. Why do I have such a high price for fuel in South Africa? Prior to COVID, prices were low. Michael, I just explained it. Brother, are you listening? Maybe your text came in after I explained it. Part of the reason is because you pay taxes. Look at the amount of money that's on a liter of petrol in South Africa. It's driven because the government has increased the tax, the road tax, the road, whatever that accident fund. That's ridiculous anyway. Why are you paying taxes on fuel for other people driving? That's a responsibility of the driver. They should have liability insurance for their car and their driving on themselves. That shouldn't be borne by the people buying petrol. The only thing you should bear paying taxes is the maintenance and upkeep of the roads. But you're already doing that. If you go on the N3, you go to the Mooi River Toll Plaza, you have to pay a toll to drive on that crappy road. They get stuck in the snow for 2 days. That's what taxes on fuel are supposed to be. They're supposed to pay for the maintenance of roads and the expansion of roads. You shouldn't be paying a road accident fund. That's ridiculous. You should have coverage. You should have an insurance policy. And if you don't, your car should be confiscated. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. We pay the second highest gasoline tax in the country in Pennsylvania. And that's why people fill up in Maryland. When I go from here to Frederick, Maryland, which is an hour from here, when I'm going south, I always stop in Frederick and fill my tank up. Do you know why? It's 55 to 70 cents a gallon less expensive because they have almost no taxes compared to us, which is odd. It's a leftist state. So, Michael, you're paying so much for fuel because Biden sent uncertain messages to the energy markets. Energy futures are very volatile. They're always volatile unless there's global security and peace, unless we have stability. If the shipping lanes, you also have forgotten about this, that the Houthis have also driven up the cost of energy. Remember when they're attacking ships in the Red Sea? That had a knock-on effect. All those goods, the price went up. All the fuel, the price went up. Job growth is not high in the U.S., Michael. Where are you getting this from? Biden is lying to you. Oh, we got 30 million. He didn't get any jobs. When the government illegally shut down our economy and forced people to stay home at risk of being arrested for a scam over COVID, 42 million people had to stay home and lost their jobs temporarily. Those jobs didn't evaporate. Those businesses still needed people to serve food, to make widgets, to pave roads, to paint houses, to install electricity, to broadcast. All those jobs were there. They began to come back as Trump, during the end of his administration, some of these states eased their lockdowns and people went back to work. So those 42 million jobs came back, 35 million of them. And Biden claims credit for creating jobs. He didn't create those jobs. He didn't create those jobs. They were there. They came back. He has created no jobs. Trump didn't create any jobs. There were over 5 million new jobs during Trump's first 3 years. He didn't create them. He created the conditions that made it possible for the economy to grow those jobs. The only jobs that a president create are in government. If government doesn't grow in size, then they haven't created jobs. They can create the conditions that are conducive to creating jobs, which is what Trump did. It's not what Biden has done. Biden has not done that. He sent messages to the investors that he's going to increase taxes, and he's done that. He sent messages that energy is going to be attacked, and we're going to switch to something we can't afford, solar. That's what he's done. Job growth is not great under Obama. Under Biden. It's a lie. It's a lie. South Africa roads are not maintained. The Road Accident Fund is bankrupt. Yeah, because they stole the money. Trump closed down U.S., though, partly because he lost. No, that's a lie, too, Michael. He did not. He did not. See, you're not well informed of this. I'm not attacking you, but you're not well informed. Trump didn't shut squat down. Trump does not control the country like Cyril Ramaphosa does. Trump is in charge of, this is a fundamental misunderstanding of Americans and of people around the world. The president of the United States is not the most powerful person in the world when it comes to the states. Maybe geopolitically, internationally they are. But when it comes to the states have primacy, despite a century of overreach of the federal government. The 10th Amendment to the Constitution, and I read to you, is a very simple amendment. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by the Constitution to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So defense, national defense is reserved to the federal government. But shutting businesses down, the federal government has no authority whatsoever. They have none. He didn't shut anything down. Pennsylvania, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, those idiot governors did that in their states. They did that. Not Trump. Not Trump. Trump shut down air travel from China for non-American citizens. He did that. He didn't shut down the economy. He didn't close schools. The school here can only be closed by the local school board or by the state, not by the federal government. Dude, people are so poorly informed. It's idiotic. Trump did not fumble it. The media lied about everything he did. I did a video on this when they, look, Jacinda Ardern, she's brilliant. She's amazing. Look what she did. Look how she responded. New Zealand overcame the COVID pandemic. A lie, a lie, a lie. I did a video in 2021 documenting the actions that Jacinda Ardern did in New Zealand and the actions that Donald Trump took based on when they got the information. And in every single instance, Trump did exactly the same thing that she was praised for by the global media. And he did it on an average of 10 days to 14 days before she did. Before she did it. And I even gave her credit because some of the information wasn't known to her until later. And I went from the date she found the information publicly to the date that she took action. And in every single instance, Donald Trump was 10 days to 2 weeks ahead of Jacinda Ardern. Yet she was the global leftist loved her. What a great response. Do you know what the New Zealand response was to COVID? If you tested positive, you were locked in a hotel with armed guards outside. If you left, they would shoot you. And you stayed there at your expense. And they shut their borders down. And their economy imploded as a consequence. My goodness. So yes, Trump did close down the economy. That's nonsense. They never compare the 2016, 2019 Trump economy versus Biden's. Yeah, exactly. Fauci fumbled the crisis. True. Then blame Trump. Michael, you need to start watching Fox News. No, I don't. Fox News is also captured. I don't watch Fox News. I rarely watch it. Benjamin Labaskakny says, what are Americans doing about it? November election results around the corner. Americans will show what they're made of. Well, they're not doing anything, Benjamin. And people are stupid. They drink the Kool-Aid that they're fed by media and newspapers. And they'll vote. 30% will vote Republican regardless of who the candidate is, regardless of what they do. 35% will vote Democrat regardless of candidate, regardless of what the candidate does. So the Democrat just needs 16% to win. The Republican needs 21% to win. So it's an uphill slide. Trump fumbled the bag and he's losing. Stop your feelings and think with those land aside. We knew Clinton would lose. Trump was getting wild. We knew Clinton would lose. Nobody on the planet said Clinton was going to lose. Nobody. You are smoking some serious ganja there. Nobody said Hillary Clinton was going to lose. I did. I was still in the Army, but I wasn't publishing online. I said she was going to lose because I came back to the States and I traveled around 2015, 2016, all over the Eastern Seaboard. And everywhere I went, it was all Trump, 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 Trump. Saw two signs for Hillary Clinton. We all knew Hillary was going to lose. Dude, your credibility is completely out the window. Nobody knew she was supposed to win. The poll released 2 days before the election said she was winning 52 or 54 to 46%. She had this thing in the bag, and she lost. Trump getting washed by Kamala. Okay. Trump's performance, see, you're just delusional, man. And I did a video on this. I covered the debate live, and then I did analysis after the debate. Trump performed poorly. Kamala Harris also performed poorly. She lied. Everything she said was a lie. It's demonstrable. Donald Trump has filed for bankruptcy 6 times. That's a lie. Donald Trump has never filed for bankruptcy. Not once. Donald Trump is a convicted sex offender. He's not a convicted sex offender. That's a lie. She just lied and lied and lied and lied. And so you just want to believe what you want, Michael. You can drink the Kool-Aid. You can tell me that I'm not being objective. I am being objective. Stating the facts. A blind man can see it. No, a blind man can't see it. And the blind man would hear it. And in the polls that were taken about the debate, it was kind of like the Nixon debate, the Checkers debate. Polls taken of people who watched the debate, they said Kamala won. Those who listened to the debate said 60% plus said that Trump won the debate, listening to it. So a blind man would have to listen to it. So your analogy doesn't work at all. They say Trump is Islamophobic, still signed multiple deals with Saudis worth hundreds to finalize the Abraham Accords. Please bring the next false claim. Yeah, not just that. They also lied about Trump banned Muslims from coming to America. Total nonsense. Total nonsense. Anyway, enough of that. No, Michael does this all the time. Michael comes in occasionally and says fairy tales and nonsense. And it's just delusional. But thank you for being here, Michael, and thank you for subscribing. Do appreciate it. Jonathan disagrees with me on some key issues, but your answer funny. Well, Jonathan, really not much I can do to address that if you don't tell me what you disagree with me on. Okay, I'll admit the Electoral College has what U.S. elections makes it very unpredictable, and Clinton won 2 million more votes than Trump. Trumpers were masters of Electoral College. Michael, okay, we've covered this story before. The reason that Hillary Clinton won the race, okay, I'll tell you why she won the race numerically, 2016. Okay, California 2016 presidential results, okay? Let me see if I got one here. Okay, 55 electoral votes for California. And let me show you why Hillary Clinton won the race, okay? We have 50 states spread across a continent from east to west, plus 2 external states in Alaska and Hawaii. You need 270 votes to win the election, okay? So Hillary Clinton got obliterated in this race. But the problem is that California distorts everything. So California is automatic for a Democrat, gives you 20% of the electoral votes out of the gate, okay? So, as I said in that election, the reason that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote is because of one state. The difference in one state. You remove California from the equation, Donald Trump wins the election, the popular vote. Michael. And here it is again for your edification. Oops, that's not it. Hillary Clinton, 8.7 million votes. Donald Trump, 4.5 million votes. That is 4,250,000 votes more. 4,250,000 votes more in one state. You subtract those 4 million votes from her, okay? Wow. How many times I have to do this? Just got to keep doing this for people. All right. So, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in 2016. And there it is, okay? 65 million, almost 66 million, all right? So, we're going to take the Donald Trump total. We're going to subtract it, okay? And we're going to see the difference, okay? So, here you go. So, she got 65,853,514 votes. Minus Trump's 62,984,828 votes. That is 2,868,000. Okay? All right? Take away her 4 million votes in California minus 2,868,000. And Trump wins the race by 1.6 million. Minus California, Donald Trump got 1.6 million more popular votes in the other 49 states than Hillary Clinton got. Do you see how one state, do you see why we have the Electoral College? Otherwise, California would be the only state that mattered. In every election, they would make the decision on who wins. Yeah. Eric asked a very good question. Why did Germans allow Jews to be wiped out? Because Germans believe the nonsense are being fed by the Nazis. And Michael and others believe the nonsense are being fed by the legacy media. Fox News is a hit and mess network. I like gut feel and Jesse Waters. Brett Baer can go where the sun doesn't shine. Well, Brett Baer used to be reliable, but he's not anymore. Molly Hemingway is very good, but I don't even watch anymore. And I can't stand Sean Hannity. He's just such a bought and paid for guy. Such a bought and paid for. All right. Well, that's enough, folks. We're over 2 hours for today. Thank you all for being here. We've covered it. Anyway, there you have it. There's the facts. Without California, Donald Trump wins the popular vote in 2016 by 1.5 million votes in 49 other states. Also, Donald Trump went from 62 million to 75 million votes. No president, no incumbent president has ever had that many votes. The most an incumbent president ever had in the past was 63 million votes in 2012, which Barack Obama got. Of note, the 63 million votes that Barack Obama got in 2012 was 5 million less than he got in the previous election. That had been the record for a presidential candidate. The record for a presidential candidate now is 81 million that Joe Biden supposedly got in 2020. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Anyway. All right, that's going to do it. Jonathan's not going to tell me what he disagrees with me here because I'll tear it apart. Y'all take care. We'll see you later. I got stuff to do. Cheers, everybody. God bless and have a good day.